Hello, my name is Lamar Hicks, and I work for the City of San Antonio Solid Waste Management Department. And today, we're going to talk about recycling. We will discuss what can and cannot be recycled and why it is so important to recycle. Here, we have our three carts: our brown trash cart, our blue recycling cart, and our green organics cart. Each is very important, and we must do our best to put the right items inside the right cart. The first thing we will go over is what should be inside the brown cart. First thing we're going to go over is our brown cart. It is very important that the items we talk about here always be put inside the trash cart and never inside any other one. The first item are chip bags. Chip bags are not recyclable, and a big reason is because of the silver stuff inside your chip bag called foil. The problem is that if that foil makes its way inside the recycling process, it can melt onto the machines, and we do not want that to happen. So always put your chip bags in the trash. Next, we have rubber. Any type of rubber, like water hoses, rubber bands, and tires, cannot be recycled in a common recycling process, so must always go inside the trash. Any small piece of plastic, like candy wrappers, small food wrappers, or any small single plastic bag, must always go inside the trash. Just like the foil inside the chip bag, it runs a chance of melting into the machines, or even worse, getting tangled up in them. Any oddly shaped metals or plastic, like clothes hangers, any utensils, and or combined substance like toys, should always go inside the trash. We don't have the machines or the manpower needed to recycle those items. And lastly, we have diapers. We must always put diapers, clean or dirty, inside the trash can. Diapers inside the recycling container can cost the city up to $1 million a year, and we do not want that. So, if you see any of these items in your house, throw them inside the garbage can. Here we have a landfill. Anything that you put inside your brown trash cart ends up at one of our two landfills here inside San Antonio. Simply put, a landfill is a 100 to 500-foot hole in the ground that every day we're going to throw your trash into it and we're going to bury it. Before we put anything inside a landfill, though, we have to make sure that we are doing our best to protect the environment, especially our aquifer, which runs underneath our landfill. We must protect our aquifer from this stuff called leachate. Or another name for leachate is garbage juice. Imagine taking your trash out every day and it's leaking some nasty watery stuff, juice or bleach or anything like that. That is leachate. And the last thing we want is that garbage juice inside of our drinking water, our bathing water, and our cooking water. One of the things that we do to protect the aquifer is on the bottom of our landfill, we have a layer of protective clay, a layer of plastic, and all these pipes. The reason for that is if it gets past our protective pipes, which take all that juice and take it away, it will be caught in a protective layer of plastic and then also inside a protective layer of clay. That way we can make sure that you are not eating, drinking, or bathing garbage juice. On this side, you see a capped landfill. On this capped landfill, we have decided to put some solar panels on top of it. What we can do is we can use those solar panels to collect clean energy because that landfill is probably about 200 to 300 feet in the air. So why not get all the clean energy from the sunlight that we can? Of our three carts, this is our newest cart. This is our green organics cart. We use this cart to compost materials and turn into soil. Inside this cart, we're going to put three things. The first is any yard waste, such as dead plants, leaves, and sticks. Next, scrap food can be added inside the cart. Ideally, we want to stick with fruits and vegetables, but any kind of scrap food can go inside there. Just be careful with bones. Anything too big, like a whole turkey, can mess up the composting process. The last thing we want inside of our organic container is food soiled paper. That includes things such as pizza boxes, napkins, tissue, takeout boxes, and even burger wrappers. Composting is very important because of the positive effects it can have on the planet. When you put organic materials inside the landfill, it produces greenhouse gas called methane gas. Methane gas is 20 times stronger than CO2 that we get from our compost pile. Methane gas is very, very bad for the air, so we want to make sure as much as possible to compost more and more and more. That way we have less methane gas in the atmosphere. Another thing that we can do with organic material is convert it into biofuels. Biofuel comes from processed biomass. Biofuels can be created from plants, commercial, domestic, and or industrial waste if it comes from bio waste. Think of the movie Back to the Future. I think it was number 2 where they put banana peels and eggshells and other waste inside the DeLorean to make it go. That is the same process of creating biofuels for organic material. Here we have our famous recycling sign with our 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. So the most important of the 3 R's is to reduce. We want less trash, we want less pollution, but most importantly, we want less waste. We also have reuse, which means to take something and use it over and over and over again. And we have recycling, which is taking something old and making something new. Here we have some examples of reusing items. So things such as reusable water bottles, reusable dishes, we want to keep that stuff and use it over and over again. We also have something that we like to call upcycling. Upcycling is a creative way of reusing items. The example you see here is we took old juice boxes and we made bags. And then for anything that is still good, that you no longer wear or you no longer play with or you no longer use, you want to donate it to anybody who may need it, or you can also sell it in stuff like a yard sale. Here we have our 4 recyclable items that go inside your blue cart: paper, plastic, glass, and cans. One of the major rules when it comes to recycling is we only want clean items inside the blue cart. Of all these items, like the paper, the plastic, and the cans, glass has a very special rule when it comes to recycling. It must have had food and drink inside of it when you got it from the store. And you must make sure to remove the lid. So we want your jelly jars, we want your pickle jars, we want your soda bottles, but not your mirrors or your windows or anything like that. So remember, these 4 items must be clean before you put them inside the blue cart. Another important reason to recycle is it helps us to conserve our natural resources. Natural resources come in 2 categories: renewable, which is something that can be replenished, and non-renewable, which is something that once we use it all up, it's all gone. We use these resources to make a lot of our recyclable items. We use wood to make all of our paper items like newspaper and boxes. It is considered a renewable resource since we can plant more trees. But it doesn't mean we can just cut down trees whenever we want. Because as we know, trees provide a habitat for certain animals and it provides the oxygen that we breathe. Oil makes all of our plastic items. As we know, oil comes from decomposed organic materials deep inside the earth and can take millions of years to make. So we want to, as much as possible, save as much oil by recycling our plastic because the oil is a non-renewable resource. We use rocks and minerals from inside the earth to make all of our canned items. Now, rocks and minerals are a non-renewable resource, but once we make the cans, those cans can be recycled an infinite number of times. You want to keep putting in there as much as possible. And it only takes 6 weeks for those cans to be back on the shelf as something new. Then we have sand. Sand is also a non-renewable resource that we use to make all of our glass items. But just like cans, Once we get through with the glass items and we recycle them, they can be recycled an infinite number of times. So you want to keep putting that inside the recycling bin as much as possible. Now, contamination is when you put the wrong items inside the wrong container. It can be the wrong items inside the blue container, also the wrong items inside of the green container. Here we have a container that was contaminated. As you can see here, there's food waste in here, there's a diaper in here, there's all types of stuff that should not be in here, and now we cannot recycle any materials in here. So you want to be careful that you do not contaminate your recycling or your green container. Air and water pollutions are two very bad byproducts of not managing our waste correctly. So we want to make sure that we limit the amount of pollution that we have inside of our air and our water, because those are very necessary stuff that we cannot afford to waste. Thank you for joining us today in our recycling presentation. If you have any more questions, please feel free to visit our website at sarecycles.org. My name is Lamar Hicks, and thank you for joining us.